26 in Tuscaloosa, 36 degrees, and Anniston had been in the 30s as well, 34 degrees. So when it comes to rainfall, typically in the month of May, we'll pick up about 5 inches of rainfall. But as you know, it's been a pretty wet start to the month. Over just the past 4 days, Tuscaloosa's almost averaged the amount of rain they would typically see in the entire month. So pretty impressive totals. And of course, we're going to have more opportunity to see rain later on this week. Weather extremes, well, the wettest May on record in Birmingham, over 17 inches of rain back in 2003, over 11 inches in Tuscaloosa back in 1976, and over almost 11.5 inches of rain in 2003. So just to give you an idea, when it comes to Birmingham rainfall for the year, we're still below average. Could pick up another 3 inches to get close to average for the full year. Same idea in Tuscaloosa, a little under an inch for the entire year. And Anniston, not bad at all. Pretty much close to normal, a little bit above at about 1/4 of an inch or so. So just to give you an idea, as we get closer to summer, of course, we got more daylight. So today we've had 13 hours and 38 minutes of sunlight. June 1st, we get 14 hours and 14 minutes. And by July 1st, 14 hours and 20 minutes. And of course, always looking ahead towards the holidays, Memorial Day, 21 days, Juneteenth, 45, and summer officially happens in 46 days.
And from those storms over the weekend across Alabama, the National Weather Service in Birmingham and Huntsville confirming 2 tornadoes across the state on Saturday. An EF1 tornado reported by the National Weather Service in the Rosalie area of Jackson County in North Alabama, maximum winds of 100 miles per hour. And an EF0 was reported in the Salem area of Lee County by the National Weather Service in Birmingham. That was quite a line it moved through over the weekend. Actually produced, look at that, over 4 inches of rain in some areas. Now again, that's just Saturday, not even counting all the rain that we had on Friday. So I know for some of these areas you were like, what are you talking about, below average on the rainfall this month? So and that's why we're concerned tomorrow night and early Wednesday. There could be a couple of trouble spots out there. But hey, the rain didn't stop fans from showing up at Barber Motorsports Park on Saturday for the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix festivities. Even though the rain was off and on, crowds still enjoyed the fan experience while watching the races. Fans could check out cars up close, enjoy the fun activities, and car enthusiast Frank Bearfield is a familiar face at the track. Every year he brings some of his very unique vehicles to the display and says it's all more about it's about more than fast cars.
Riding the tram around, you end up striking up conversations with people that, where are you guys from? We're from Nashville, or we're from Kentucky. Some people come from Washington, D.C. I mean, they come from all over, to see this event.
And we weren't the only ones to see the stormy weather over the weekend. The National Weather Service confirming that an EF0 tornado impacted the Jefferson Parish area Friday night. And this is over in Louisiana, of course. It had winds of 80 miles per hour and traveled for 20 yards, flipping a nearby shed. Storms all around, very impactful weekend across the region. And as severe storms continue to impact not just our area, but across the country, especially as we get into that summer type pattern. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Carice Jackson explains why you should be wary of people claiming they can help you after a disaster.
It's something that we see all the time after a storm, is that people will start going door to door and trying to get some work.
Tornadoes, hurricanes, flash flooding. No matter the disaster, scammers are never far behind, looking to take advantage of storm survivors in need.
A lot of times they'll inflate their price. It's not a price that would normally be for an emergency repair. They'll ask for cash up front. They'll say, I'm only in town today, I can do the work. Or I was driving by and noticed you had some damage.
Melanie McGovern with the Better Business Bureau says while some legitimate contractors do canvass neighborhoods, it's important to know how to tell the difference between a real business and a storm scammer.
Ask them questions. Tell them you want to make your decision. You want to check the BBB website. You want to look at their references. They will let you do that. They'll give you that time. If you want to go through your insurance company, things like that. Those are your green flags when it comes to somebody at your door.
McGovern advises preparing as much as possible before a storm hits. So if you're ever in a pinch, you're not scrambling to find help. And if your property is damaged, take photos, document everything, and call your insurance company ASAP.
It's going to take a little bit of work on people's parts. Like, it's not going to be super easy to, especially if your area has been devastated, to find somebody. So that's why it's always a good idea to have that list in advance of a tree person, a concrete person, a roof person, a window person. Just in case one of those things come up, you can pull out that list and just give them a call right away.
With this watching your wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
Well, if someone claims to be from a federal agency like FEMA, ask for identification, of course. They should have a federal badge and be driving a vehicle with government plates. Don't be afraid to ask questions. In 30 seconds, we continue to talk about how much rainfall we're expecting for your Tuesday and how the recent NOAA cuts could impact how we gather information for the upcoming hurricane season. We'll be right back. All right, if you have plans for this evening, some more nice weather conditions out there, 9 to 10 o'clock. You can see we go from 60s down into the 50s. May need to adjust that thermostat. One more night, we could have some upper 40s, especially north and east early tomorrow morning, so plan for that chilly start. Now, we are calling for a first alert weather day tomorrow night and into Wednesday morning, and that's for the possibility of some heavy rain and maybe some flooding issues in a few areas. That's the big concern. Certainly could be an impactful system, so we want to make sure you are weather alert and have that first alert. We're just a few short weeks away from the beginning of the Atlantic hurricane season. That Pacific season will kick off a little bit sooner, but as the layoffs from NOAA and the National Weather Service are affecting many divisions of the agency, Ivan Rodriguez joins us with a discussion to the possible impacts this can have as we head into another active hurricane season.
Andy Hazelton is a hurricane hunter who was working out of the National Hurricane Center in Miami.
We're not really doing policy for the most part. We're just, especially the Weather Service, just trying to get this life-saving information out there.
He's flown into the eye of the storm countless times, including Hurricanes Helene, Dorian, and Ian.
You basically fly through the storm 3 to 4 times, and then the forecasters are getting that data in real time. They're using that for their advisories to tell people, hey, this is where the storm is, this is how strong it is.
But now he's out of that job. He was one of hundreds of employees at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, whose roles were terminated as part of the Trump administration's efforts to slim down the federal government.
We're already understaffed, and this is just going to be an even further blow on top of that.
The National Weather Service is headed into hurricane season with 30 of its 122 weather forecast offices lacking their most experienced official, known as the meteorologist in charge. These include offices covering New York City, Cleveland, Houston, and Tampa.
It's a job that gets very, very busy whenever there's active weather, and you're responsible for keeping an eye on everything. When you don't have that position filled, you're basically asking other members of the management team to step up and do those things. And when the weather is getting very active, it's very hard to keep up with that.
Further cuts to NOAA are in the works, though the NWS may not suffer the brunt of that next round, according to internal federal documents.
Coming up on Weather Extra, we bring the latest on tomorrow's first alert weather day tomorrow night, and we take you beyond the atmosphere to an out-of-this-world shower happening, and you'll be able to catch it. We'll show you when and where. We'll see you after the break. And welcome back into Weather Extra. Well, we're going to see those clouds come back and a chance of rain coming back. Actually, we've had some clouds today, but not a lot of rain, but a lot of cloud cover tomorrow night and rain builds in. We've got this moist flow that's going to build back in, this west-southwest flow aloft. It's as that moisture lifts in. We could see storms down along the coast to try to limit just how much of that heavier rain builds north. But the big concern tomorrow night and then early on Wednesday morning is that we could see some flooding. Now, this looks a lot like the convective outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, but this is the flood risk outlook from the Weather Prediction Center, and you see it shows a slight to moderate risk for flooding in this region, and that's a concern, especially after all the rain that we had late last week and over Saturday. So just putting that out there to make sure that early Wednesday you give yourself some extra drive time, and we have a first alert weather day for the possibility of some flooding in a few areas. But model data keeps us dry throughout the day tomorrow. Another beautiful day tomorrow. Certainly don't cancel any big plans you have during the day Tuesday. I know if you check the weather app, you'll see a chance of rain on there. That's mostly for late tomorrow night. You're in good shape through 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. This is going to roll in here late tomorrow, 3:30 dry. This shows us dry through 6, even 8 o'clock. So if there's maybe a Little League baseball game you're going to early tomorrow evening, it looks like it's going to be mostly during the late night hours when that rain moves in. This is showing 1:30 in the morning, some heavy rain sliding in. You know, South Alabama, that looks to be the area. And you see here along the coast, we're seeing that possibility of some real heavy rain down in this part of the state, and that could limit just how much rain we do end up receiving here. This has been kind of the trend this afternoon with some of that new data coming in. So don't be surprised if we're able to back off of that flood risk a little bit based on some of the new data trends. So check in for updates, but I still think we're going to see some rain late tomorrow night, early Wednesday. It's just that risk of flooding. That's the question mark right now. But rain likely into the first part of the day. Probably see some breaks there in the afternoon and also catch some breaks in the rain on Thursday. It won't be a total washout, but there will be some scattered showers and storms that come back on Thursday. You can see we stay rather muggy. These are dew point temperatures, not the actual air temperature, but that gives us a good idea of how tropical, how sticky it's feeling out there. But notice how that starts to drop again as we go into the weekend. So we have trended drier for Saturday and Sunday. So the weekend is looking pretty good. And also today I've been sharing the Skeeter meter. And this is something I noticed yesterday. I was doing a little gardening and could see I caught a couple of mosquitoes out there trying to bite me. They're out and about. And with all the rain that we've had, especially on Saturday, doing a little yard work tomorrow. You know, just check if you have any empty pots, flower pots around. Just make sure there's no standing water in those. Empty those out. Some good advice there with all the rain that we've had here recently. And that's a common area there for the skeeters, as we say, right? 10-day forecast looking ahead into Thursday and Friday. Scattered storms. Weekend looks dry. Next week, we'll see some scattered storms coming back by Monday and Tuesday, but after that, looks a little bit drier with sunshine. But hopefully those clouds can part ways for a short time tonight because a meteor shower is happening. Meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us with our friends from Earth Sky on what type of shower this is and when the best time will be for viewing.
Well, if you're a night sky gazer and you like to look out there and maybe you might see a couple of shooting stars tonight, we got a meteor shower to talk about. And with us joining us today on Weather Extra, Deborah Bird from Earth Sky. How's it going?
It's good. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm good. So tell us about this meteor shower tonight, where it originated, and what can we expect?
Okay, the shower is called the Eta Aquariid because it radiates from near the star Eta in the constellation Aquarius. So that constellation is moving across the southern sky before dawn. So before dawn is the time to look for that reason, and also because there's a moon up in the early part of the night, and you want to wait until that moon sets to watch the Eta Aquariids.
All right,
so before dawn on Tuesday.
Okay, before dawn, and so my big question for you is, where did this originate? It came from a very famous comet that we all probably have heard of before. So tell us about that. Originate.
Okay, yes. Comes from the most famous of all comets, Comet Halley. So Comet Halley only comes back about, let's see, what is it? I think it's 76 years that it takes to come back. And it was around in the mid-1980s. So were you even born then, Matt?
I think it was right around that time when it happened. So yeah.
You probably didn't see it last time.
No, probably not.
Right. No, but what's cool about Comet Halley is that people, it has about its orbit is about the length of a human lifespan. So most people will see Comet Halley at least once in their lives. And its next time it comes back is 2061.
Okay.
So you will probably be around to see it, but I will probably not be around to see it.
I hope I'll be around to see that. So how many meteors are we talking about tonight, right before sunrise, right? What are you expecting?
I'm at 29 degrees south latitude. I'm in Austin, Texas. You're pretty similar to me, aren't
Yeah,
you?
pretty similar.
Yeah, and so the Eta Aquariid for this latitude is pretty good. People farther north don't see it as well because, as I mentioned, that radiant point is arcing low across the sky in the early morning. So the farther south you get on Earth's globe, the higher and higher that thing shifts in the sky, so you see more meteors. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, you could see as many as 60 meteors an hour. But I think, from my latitude or your latitude, you might see like 40 meteors an hour. There's really no telling with meteor showers because it's kind of like predicting a shower of rain.
Yeah.
It's nature, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen exactly as you think it's going to, but yeah.
That's one of our issues. That's one of our issues here. We might have to deal with. There might be some clouds moving in and out. I think we'll have some periods where we might have a clear sky. But the best viewing tips, as you would mention all the time, is make sure you're in a dark area away from city lights. Correct?
That's right. And if you come to earthsky.org and click on stargazing, you'll get to our best places to stargaze page, and it's a crowdsourced page, and there will be some place near you that we're recommending to go observe the meteor shower in a dark sky.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully we'll get a few meteor showers to look at, a few shooting stars. Thank you again, Deborah Bird from EarthSky, for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, go out, simply look up. You may catch some of those overnight tonight, but there's a lot happening in the night sky, and Matt will have more reports on what you can expect throughout the week here on First Alert Weather Extra. All right, let's talk about beyond the 7-day a bit here, and I want to show you more on the temperatures, and let's talk about adjusting that thermostat. It's going to be chilly tonight, and there's a chance in the morning we could see some upper 40s, so you may need to bump the heat up before you head off to bed tonight. Tomorrow looks like a very nice day, very comfortable. As we go into the early morning hours on Wednesday, you can see 60 degrees as far as the overnight tomorrow night and into Wednesday morning. That rain comes back, highs around 72. Thursday's a day where it gets a little hotter during the afternoon, so you may need to kick on the AC there later in the day. But enjoy these kind of temperatures because all of a sudden summer's here, right? We really heat up. And when we look at that temperature outlook, May 13th through May 19th, we're seeing a big swing above average on those temperatures. That's the 8 to 14 day outlook. As far as precipitation goes, it looks like we're going to trend close to normal. As Matt was talking earlier, a lot of locations are just above normal or just below. So we're right there on that average mark so far, but we could see some heavy rain tomorrow night. We'll be back with a final check on the 10-day forecast. Stay with us. And welcome back to Weather Extra. Nice evening out there, but some big changes coming up tomorrow night and into Wednesday morning. If you notice, we do have a rain chance there on Tuesday. It's mostly for tomorrow night, but we have called a first alert weather day. We could have some flooding in a few areas, some heavy rain going into Wednesday morning, some scattered storms Thursday and Friday. We'll have more on that forecast tonight first at 9. Have a great evening.